Hello, everybody. Welcome to my live stream. That's right, I'm here to talk about Epic Collections, and I've got a box. We're going to open up this box in a little bit. But just before we get started, I wanted to show you another book that I got just the other day. In fact, just yesterday. Um, where did it go? Here we go. For Better or for Worse, The Complete Library, Volume 8, covering the years 2003 to 2006. Now, why should you care about this book is what you're asking. This is a superhero podcast. This doesn't look anything like superheroes. Well, I have a love of classic comic strips, and I know 2003 doesn't seem classic, does it? But For Better or for Worse is a classic comic strip, believe it or not. It is one of my favorites. It has always been. It started in 1979, and I have been very fortunate to be working on this book series as editor, restorer, that kind of thing. I've been writing the introductions, working closely with Lynn Johnston, the author, to make sure that these books are great because they are covering her entire career of cartooning from 1979 all the way up until 2008 when she ended her story, which will be in the next volume here. But this volume came out yesterday. It hit stores yesterday. So it's just, newspaper comic strips is a day at a time. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. They appeared in newspapers. And then on the very next day, they'd have a color Sunday page. And then they keep on going day after day, year after year. And the really cool thing about this strip in particular is that all of the characters aged in real time. So if you think about some of the other comic strips like Peanuts or Calvin and Hobbes, Peanuts ran for 50 years, and those kids were always little kids. They never aged. But in For Better or for Worse, the kids grew up. And so they started in 1979, especially Elizabeth, the daughter, was a toddler in that book. And then by the time we get to this book here, she's graduated university and is starting out a career in the teaching field. And so just some really great stuff. I absolutely love this strip. It is kind of a good soap opera melodrama. It's really funny because Lynn Johnston's just a hilarious person. They come this We have little annotations from Lynn Johnston on some of these strips, so you can get some of the little in behind the scenes. But anyway, there you go. It's 500 pages, just over 500 pages, I think. This is volume 8 out of a 9-volume series. I'm working on volume 9 now. So anyway, that's what has me excited right now, because it's not often you have a book that gets published and is released every day. So kind of cool. Let's see who's watching. Anybody out there? You have some comments? You have just tell me where you're from, where you're listening from today, and we will open up this box. It has an Epic collection in it. Okay. Let's see. What do we have here? Oh, this is interesting. Oh, we have a lot of people here. There we go. There's in the comments. Hello, everybody. Northeast of America, Virginia, all over the place. Okay, the one we have today to show you is Thunderbolts, Volume 2. It's called Dead or Alive. Wanted, Dead or Alive. That's a pretty cool cover on the back there. So this is Thunderbolts from 1998 and 1999. Thunderbolts 13 to 25 plus number 0 plus Captain America and Citizen V annual number 1998 or year 1998 and Avengers 12 because I assume it's a crossover. And you can see plainly from this cover that Hawkeye joins the team. The Thunderbolts, in case you don't know who they are a team of heroes who rose to the occasion when a bunch of other heroes apparently passed away in the Onslaught storyline. In reality, they went to another dimension and were in the Heroes Reborn story. Um, but that didn't, the regular 616 didn't know that. So these heroes decided to fill in. And um, let's see here. Their leader, Citizen V, isn't on the cover. I can't remember if he stepped away from the team at the end of the last volume or not. The last volume was great. I read it on an airplane, and it was a lot of fun. Really, really fantastic. So I'm eager to dive into this second volume with issues that I haven't read before. I'd read most of that first volume when it first came out. Back before Thunderbolts turned into a Suicide Squad ripoff. Yeah, modern day Thunderbolts is nothing like this Thunderbolts back here. This is written by Kurt Busiek, and the artist is Mark Bagley. Um, let's take a look at some of the insides. Looks like they're going to go to outer space in this one here. I like this comment. I just got a second Billy shelf for my epics, and now I'll actually have room for this one. That's I'm glad. I'm glad you have the space to upgrade. Um, Once you start collecting, that space seems to disappear pretty quick. Definite Mark Bagley faces, you can tell right away. Kind of looks like Janine Melnitz from Ghostbusters. Meteorite. Mach 5, some of these characters here. Looks like they're having a little fight there. Oh, the Great Lakes Avengers. That's pretty fun. There's some more heroes that stuck around while the others were in the Heroes Reborn era. Atlas. Is that Count Nefaria? Oh, Graviton. Graviton. Yeah, that's right. They have the white costume and the beards and whatever, so they kind of look the same. Anybody out there Thunderbolts fans? Eric says, kind of makes me wish I didn't already have the two Thunderbolts Omnis. Yeah, this is this is pretty solid stuff. I mean, Mark Bagley's doing the whole thing, it looks like, except the annual. Here's the cover for the Captain America Citizen V Annual 1998. Captain America has his Heroes Return shield here that from the George Perez era. Greg Adams doing the artwork in this one. It looks pretty nice, actually. I like that. With Scott Hanna doing the inks, and Scott Hanna is the inker on the regular series, so that gives it a little bit of continuity. In fact, some of these look a little bit like Mark Bagley faces, but unless oh no, it's not Mark Bagley. I think we're going into World War II. Sure sign of World War II when you see Bucky on the pages there. Currently reading the Busiek Perez Avengers, and they refer to Thunderbolts a lot. It's interesting. This is a classic and not a modern epic. Yeah, well, I mean, it did come out. It coincided with Heroes Reborn and ran through Heroes Return. So if the Heroes Reborn and Heroes Return, oh, this is George Perez. This must be the Avengers issue. Um, if Heroes Reborn and Heroes Return are going to be classic epics, which it looks like they are, then it makes sense that this stuff, which ran concurrently, um, is going to be classic as well. And honestly, the artwork and the storytelling, it still feels 90s classic. It hadn't moved into the Marvel Knights era style of writing at this point. Special 25th issue. That's a cool cover. Is that the back cover? Yeah, that's the back cover. Um, and we know that the Heroes Reborn stuff and Heroes Return stuff is going to be considered classic, unless they're just going to skip it altogether, which I don't think that they will, because the Thor Modern Era Epic Collection Volume 1 starts with the Straczynski run. So everything before that would have to be classic. And same with Captain America. It's starting with Winter Soldier with Ed Brubaker. So everything before that going to be classic. And Avengers, we don't know yet. What's the other Heroes Reborn title? Um, Fantastic Four. We don't know about that one either. So, um, yeah, there you go. That's my opinion right there. Do you think that Marvel shouldn't have made a distinction between the epics and the modern epics? I think that they should have. I think it's a good idea. Um, Split it up by era because the people who love both will buy both, but the people who don't but want to have matching spines on like a complete set still can feel good about having a complete set and having a jumping off point. So I think it's okay that they did that. Um, as long as they just keep on coming out. That's what I think. Okay, when is this book coming out? Let's have a look here. I have my spreadsheet up. Um, it's on the schedule for April 30. April 30th. There we go. So yeah, April. We're already at the end of April for these previews. That's pretty cool. Um, this one, let's see here. It feels a little thinner. Still printed by Solisco. It still has the same quality paper stock, but let's see, what does the page count say here? The last issue is 384, and that's a double size, so that probably brings us up to 8490, about 420 pages or so. So it is a little on the thinner side, but that's okay. It's a good stopping point. I think they definitely based it on the stopping point there. First plans were to use Rita Yellow Jacket for Thunderbolts, but the crossing killed her off, and they had to switch her out with Songbird. Poor Rita was Songbird's gain. Her loss, sorry, her loss was Songbird's gain. Yeah, and Songbird ended up being an excellent character. She's so good in that first volume. So eager to see where her story takes her here. When do we see the ROM epics, Ryan? I have no idea. I hope it's sometime soon because um, if they want to be able to put them all out in a timely manner without losing the license, or maybe they won't at all. Maybe they just won't bother with the paperbacks because they got burned with Master of Kung Fu and Conan. Who knows? I guess we'll find out. But I think all three ROM omnibuses have been solicited now. I think that's right. They've at least all been announced. So if that's the case, then we should hopefully get an announcement about potential paperback releases at some point soon. I sure hope so. Um, there you go. That's my live stream. I only have one epic to talk about. And if you missed it earlier, at the beginning of this live stream, I was talking about my own book I'm the editor and restorer, and I wrote an introduction for this one, for better or for worse, in stores now, complete library volume 8. So there you go. Let here. Saturday Morning Found says, I found your custom Alf Omni videos. Will you ever finish them? You know what? I um I was talking to a publisher about the possibility of trying to get the Alf license to reprint those comics, and they were like, "Yeah, that's a great idea." And then I never heard anything, and I was like, I'm planning on binding my comics. Should I hold off in case we need to use them to scan or whatever?" And then they said to hold on, but then I haven't heard anything back lately. So um, I would love to finish those, but they're just sitting right under my desk right now, waiting for me to finish, to just to do something with them. This is the Alf issue that is part of the Evolutionary War, the Alf Annual #1. Aaron Pierce gave this to me. Aaron Pierce, if you are watching this live stream, thank you very much. So you want to see High Evolutionary in an Alf comic? There he is right there. It says, and then, yeah, so he's all over the place here. And where's the other one? So Alf has X-Men and High Evolutionary Marvel comic. Um, can't they use those? Alf has X-Men and High Evolutionary and Marvel Comics HQs. Can they use those? I'm not sure exactly what you're asking there. Oh, I see. Because of the licensing. You're asking if we can use them because of the licensing. I mean, I they aren't High Evolutionary because he appears as High Evolutionary might be an issue, but the X-Men characters that appear here are not the X-Men, they're the X-Mailmen, and so they are fully new characters that I assume are owned by Alf or whatever, that kind of thing. So I'm not sure. If anything, we'll have to license the for the use of High Evolutionary, but it could be considered fair use or it could be considered parody as well. So I'm not sure exactly where that falls. That is not for me to determine. Anyway, uh the Elf Annual does have an appearance of High Evolutionary, so it could be considered canon to the Evolutionary War story. It absolutely is canon. If you read this, it does tie in. It does tie in. So, in fact, there is an editor note in one of these here. Where did it go? The editor note says, "See X Factor, Punisher, Silver Surfer, Fantastic Four, X-Men, New Mutants, Avengers, West Coast, Avengers, and 3 Spider-Man annuals." Editor, right there at the bottom, the editor note. So there you go. Uh, thanks, Curtis. I need more Epic Collection podcasts. Yeah, I would definitely love to get back to that. I've been so busy lately. Um, What about Alpha as the Fantastic Fur? It's just Alpha with a tablecloth, so would Marvel sue and say confusion with Fantastic Four? Yeah, you're joking. Fantastic Fur, pretty funny. There are so many really great comic book references. In fact, Alf Alf started off I'm talking a lot about Alf now. Alf started off as a companion to the TV show, but once the TV show ended and the Alf comic kept on going, they started just kind of doing whatever they want. There is a Robert Crumb parody issue, if you can believe it. I don't know if I can find it just off the bat here in my little box of Alf comics. Mm. See, I already have them all mapped the way I want to. You can't just map Alf just any way you want, like numerically. You have to slot in there's some holiday specials and there's some spring specials and annuals. They all have to go in very specific spots because there actually is continuity in these comics, and they make huge use of all of the editor notes referring back to past issues. In fact, I think there's one issue near the end where pretty much every single panel has an editor note referring to a previous issue, and they try to refer to all the past issues in that one issue. It's pretty funny. Um, I can't remember which issue it is that has the Robert Crumb parody. It's one of these later ones, um, but it's just so funny. Honestly, people, we make fun of this comic, but it's for it's for comic lovers. It makes fun. Here's an Alf Judge Dredd parody right here. Judge Bread, if you can believe that. There's a couple of Conan parodies in here as well. They do it all the time. Um, yeah, I'm not gonna be able to find it. So I found it. What do you know? There he is. There's Alf as Mr. Natural. This part is drawn by Rick Parker, I believe. Pretty funny, hey? I love it. It's so good. Well, that's enough, Alf. You know I love it. You know what made me really jealous is that if you saw on TikTok, Omar, uh, I think it's what a comic book company, it might have been Dynamite even, sent Omar a page of Alf original art. That was like pretty amazing. I want to get to that level of YouTube status where comic book companies are sending you original art. It's pretty remarkable. Okay, so make sure that when you have the next most wanted Omni poll, we can vote for that. There you go. Vote for Alf in the near mint condition. Tiger Eyes Marvel Omnibus poll. Oh boy. Okay. Oh hey, I know. I want to talk to you about this. Where did it go here? The next round of DC Finest got released on they updated the Penguin Random House website. We already knew about these old ones here: Batman, Flash, Catwoman, and Superman. And I don't know why I don't have Wonder Woman up here, but there's also Wonder Woman. Um, they have confirmed now that they're $40 each, and they're all about 600 pages. So they're going to be fatter than Epics. Although they don't look that much fatter in these mock-ups, I'm guessing that they're gonna use some pretty thin paper if they're especially if they're only $40. But today we found out about Legion of Superheroes, Justice Society of America, Justice League of America, events starting with Zero Hour Part 1, and Green Lantern. And so, wow, this is great. Uh, Again, we have some Golden Age stuff. We've got some I think this is Silver Age maybe, with Gardner Fox, I would imagine so. This is Silver Age as well, and we've got some Bronze Age Legion, and we have some 90s Zero Hour, so we've got a pretty good mix of all these things. Which ones are you excited about? I found out that they do plan on jumping around to different eras. So they even though we've started with Superman Volume 1 over here, like the very, very first well, first of all, they're not calling them volumes, they're numbering them by dates, as you can see on the spine there. There's no numbering at all. So they're just going to do Superman 1938, and then they might jump over to 1964, they might jump over to 1992 or whatever. That's kind of cool. But right now, we don't know what that's going to look like exactly. All we know is what we see in these mock-ups here and what they've released already. I love the strip on the back cover. You can see it highlights the years that it covers. Unfortunately, we don't have mock-ups for these new ones. We only have the straight-on front covers, but pretty cool stuff. Let me pick up Zero Hour, getting that JSA book for sure. Skipping anything Silver Age. It's mostly Superman releases. Um, that's what you're gonna get, mostly Superman releases? I can judge by your handle and your avatar that you are a Superman fan, so I bet let me see, it's gonna be, this one that you'll be excited about, and I think Superman appears in this one as well. Like, I'm sure if you've been watching my stream or talked to me on Facebook at all, you'll know that I'm very new to DC. I haven't read very much DC at all, so I am really stoked for these books. I think that they're gonna be, an excellent way to collect DC's, back catalog, and I've been waiting for something like this for a long time. Um, there hasn't been some sort of singular branding that's going to lead me through a good reading order of DC Comics, and so this is kind of what I'm hoping for here. Hope we get Firestorm, Atari Force, and DC Challenge. I'm afraid I don't even know two of those titles. But if this line does well, then I think they'll dip into some of the more obscure stuff for sure. You can tell from these books that they are starting off with the heavy hitters. Of course, we're going with the core Justice League characters. We're going with the Justice teams, the really long running series, and and then they're throwing in Catwoman, which I think shows us also that they want to collect stuff that has never been collected before, because there's a lot in this book that's going to be new to collected editions. But yeah, all of these surefire big name heroes, and they're kind of starting off with eras that are tested, tried, tested, and true as well to hopefully get you, even though a lot of people are like, well, I already have this material and other stuff, but a lot of people don't, like myself. So I'm going to jump in, and then maybe we can get to some of the more obscure stuff when the line really, really takes off. Surprised no Morrison 90s JLA book to start off with. Yeah, that would be something to start off with. That was huge. Uh, I'm sure they'll get around to that one eventually. It'll be interesting to see what Zero Hour reprints, maybe the crossovers in part one and the Zero issues in part two. Yeah, or I have no idea how that crossover works. I don't know if you need to read the whole thing together or if they're going to split up each issue and stick the crossovers in between. Not sure. Which one are you looking forward to the most? Which one am I looking forward to the most? Honestly, I'm looking forward to Batman because this one has year one, which I lost that trade paperback. I had it, and I must have lent it out to somebody and forgotten who because I don't have it anymore. And honestly, I really like this era of Batman, and so I am looking forward to reading all of these stories, the Detective Comic stuff. I am not as much into the Silver Age and Golden Age of DC, so, uh, you know, these ones are a little I'll still get them, I'll still read them. In fact, I have some of these already, um, when they were releasing these old, I brought them up because I was looking at them earlier. Mm. These ones, because they were doing a pretty unique chronological reprinting of all of these old comics with the Golden Age, Silver Age trade paperbacks that were kind of based on the omnis that were coming out. But they stopped those, and I don't know why. Maybe they were thinking, "Oh, well, let's do the DC Finest instead." But I mean, they stopped these a long time ago, so I don't know if that was their mind. And I think that's what's on people's minds is DC gets a certain way in, and then they kind of abandon ship and start again. So is that what's going to happen with Finest? I hope not. I'm encouraged with the amount of releases they have initially here. They have 10 releases now, and those 10 releases are coming out in 7 weeks in November and early December. Like that's a lot to crank out all at once, which shows me that they have a plan. They're not doing this haphazardly. They're very specific with the choices that they've made. Um, and hopefully if people buy into it, then they'll just keep on going. That's what I'm hoping. I think starting the Silver Age and Golden Age, it's a tough sell because the audience that likes this specific era is pretty small. And if you think about it, there are like 10 Superman Golden Age Omnis or something like that, or 10 Batman Golden Age Omnis. If you split them in half, that's 20 paperbacks that they're gonna have of just Golden Age Superman. Absolutely ridiculous. So jumping around, I think, is definitely the way to go because then you can satisfy multiple areas of your fan base. There's something for everybody. But I'm pretty happy with this. I'm pretty happy with this initial slate of DC finest. I think it's going to be really cool, and I love that the spines all match. That, of course, I'm always about that. I'm looking forward to Legion of Superheroes because, you know, love him or hate him, I actually like Jim Shooter's stuff. So, um, that should be fun. Dave Cockrum as well is awesome. Justice Society will be interesting to check out. This one, The Bridge Between Two Earths, so I'm guessing it's going to be a Earth 2 storyline or whatever. That'll be fun. And then yeah, Zero Hour. I know nothing about Zero Hour, but I do like Dan Jurgens and Jerry Ordway. Both of them should be good. Uh, let's see here. What else are you people saying? And wasn't there an Elseworlds title? So DC is also at the same time putting out a series of Elseworlds titles, but they are not under the DC Finest brand. There is a number of them, I think, that they just released. They're gonna collect those all up in big fat trades as well. I have the DC Showcase. They're like Marvel Essentials, black and white phone book size of those Flash and Green Lantern books. Definitely willing to upgrade to these instead. Yeah. I wonder if DC will continue the compendiums. I bought Green Lantern Kyle Rayner recently. I think that they will, because they service a different group of fans, ones who just want the huge fat books all out quickly, and, they could release the Kyle Rayner stuff in compendium while they're releasing the Hal Jordan stuff in, DC Finest, and then years, literally years down the road when the compendiums, the Kyle Rayner compendiums are, out of stock or out of print, then they can do the DC Finest ones. So it can still work for both of them. Hope they do a deep dive into Bronze Age anthologies. Yeah. So that is one thing that they said in the press release is that they're going to have some genre themed books as well. So it's like maybe DC Finest Westerns or DC Finest Horror, or, that kind of stuff. DC Finest Funny Animals, Captain Carrot, or whatever. I don't know. But um, we haven't seen any of those released yet, so well, maybe we'll get to see. If they really are releasing like one a week through November and December, that means we'll get new announcements once a month. Because we're not getting advanced ones 6 months at a time like we are with the epics. That'll be a lot to talk about on a regular basis. That'll be kind of fun. I was going to pick up some compendiums, but now I'm on the DC Finest train. Good job, BCAM. Omar loved Year 2. Yeah, he does like that one. I haven't read it, so I'll have to see for myself if it's good or if it's bad. Some of the DC Golden Age Omnis are $19 at Ollie's. Yeah, can you believe that? Because the fan base isn't big. All collection roads should lead to DC Finest, just like all Marvel collection roads should lead to epics. If a line doesn't sell, just move on to another line, another era. There you go. I think it's a sin to put year 1 and 2 together. But you know what? These are being released chronologically. And so that's just like if you take that chunk of Batman and Detective Comics right there, 1988 or 1999 or whatever it is, 1989, they actually were published pretty close together. So yeah, they will be in one book. DC, unlike Marvel, has true various different ages of storytelling, where the Golden Age, Silver Age, Bronze Age, the Steel Age, all completely different continuities, unlike Marvel. And that's kind of like, I would have loved to have Golden Age DC Finest branded on its own. Just like Epic Collections are now doing with modern era Epic Collections, I would have loved to see them because then if I don't wanna get the if I want still wanna be complete, it's the completist in me, and maybe that's why they're doing it, because they know that I'll buy them all. Yeah. The Jim Shooter Legion stuff was really interesting. He was 14 at the time when he started. Holy cow. Well, maybe I won't like that stuff if I don't know. I don't know how good he was when he was 14. Holy moly, that is amazing. I feel like they should do volume numbers to create the fun of plugging in volume holes. I a little harder to gauge that with the year range, but I mean, you still can plug in the holes. The years are numbers, and it could be volume 1989. When does the Bronze Age of Green Lantern start? Is there an issue or a year? It's a great question. Does anybody out there know? When does Bronze Age Green Lantern start? Makes it easier just to pick up one here or there, I guess, which is maybe what DC wants. And I think that's why Marvel didn't put the volume numbers on the front cover for the very same reason there. I would love a House of Mystery or Secrets, House of Secrets in DC Finance. Yeah, that'd be great. And I think they did those in Omni, right? So like even the work on those is already done. So they don't have to do any restoration or whatever. They could just repackage it as a paperback. Hope for the comedy books, the old Dell Looney Tunes, Tom and Jerry, Hanna-Barbera, most have never been in trades. Yeah, that's an interesting thing because yes, technically they're all owned by Warner Brothers, but I think there still would be some licensing things going on there. People own shares in the characters or co-ownership and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, those old, especially the old Looney Tunes, fantastic stuff. The especially the like the really old 1940 stuff, like not the Gold Key. Gold Key got really, really hokey, but that old Dell stuff is fantastic. I feel like they should do volume numbers to create the fun of. Oh, we already saw this comment. Yeah, there you go. My Bronze Age Green Lantern Trade Volume 1 is in storage. Where does it start? Hal Jordan started in the early 60s. There you go. Green Lantern, Green Arrow 76 is listed on Wiki as the first Bronze Age Green Lantern, Green Arrow when Neil Adams took on the book. I guess that makes sense. That is a very, very big shift in how comics were done. Like that, Green Arrows, Neil Adams' work on that definitely changed comics at that time. So there you go. DC has Looney Tunes right now, but Dynamite has Hanna-Barbera. Um, yeah, DC's been publishing Looney Tunes for years, right? Isn't that comic up to like past the 200s by now? And Scooby Doo as well. Well, DC still has Scooby Doo, I'm pretty sure. So Dynamite definitely has a Hanna-Barbera license that's specific. DC can still reprint the new Hanna-Barbera stuff they did. Who knows what the licensing agreement is? Silver and Bronze Age are the same continuity, just evolved storytelling. Right. Kind of like Marvel's crossovers between eras as well. Same continuity, just different storytelling. Um, until Crisis, right? Crisis is when they kind of reboot everything. Well, people, it's been fun chatting. I hope you had a good chat with me on the live stream here. Looking forward to DC Finest. Looking forward to more Epic collections. Man, I can't believe what a great time it is to be a collector of old classic comics because they just keep on pumping them out. And we have so much selection in terms of variety and availability. I know, yes, there's a lot of not available Epic collections, but just the sheer fact that they made them available for so long and they're going back for reprints and there's omnis and there's so many different ways to collect these books digital even if you want. um, what a wonderful time it is to be able to have access to all of this stuff. So I hope that everybody here has a good week, a good weekend. Happy Easter to everybody. Anybody who observes either the bunny side or the Jesus Christ side of things, happy Easter. And I want to um, give a special thanks to Marvel for sending me an advance copy of this book right here, Thunderbolts. I hope you all enjoy it. I'm going to dig into it this weekend. Um, there we go. Have a great night.